Okay, so here is my everyday makeup look. Here I showed you my Fenty Beauty and Fit Me by Maybelline foundations. I mixed those two together because one of them is a little bit too dark. Here is the wet sponge, guys. Make sure you never use a dry sponge. It will not work. It will look patchy. Your makeup will look just crazy. So wet sponge all day, every day. Now we're going into the Fenty Beauty Concealer. That's the same color. Here I'm just showing you guys my way of putting on my concealer. As you guys know, this is like the corrector. I like to dry my concealers before I actually pat it into my skin with my wet sponge there, obviously. It just helps it stay in place, you know, because if you pat it while it's still wet, it'll move and it won't really stay in the places you want it to stay in, so. Here is the L'Oreal concealers. They're new concealers. Oh my gosh, I absolutely love these. They remind me of the Tarte Shape Tape concealers because of the applicator. These are like actually like really thick. Here is the MAC Prep and Prime Fix Plus. I'm just going to spray that over my face a little bit before I dry my face to pat in the highlight now. This is the highlight. Oh, get it? Ooh, hey. So, here we are with the wet concealer sponge again. I'm using the other side of the sponge. I'm going to pat in the highlight. In a second, you'll see what I'll do. I'm going to flip that around and I'm going to blend out the edges of the highlight into my skin to make it more seamless. That's why I only use one side of the sponge. It really helps with blending everything out and making everything look flawless. Here we have the L'Oreal concealers in darker shades. That one was brand new. I thought that was my shade, but then I came back home and the lighter one is actually my contour shade. That one was a little too dark. Maybe I'll save that for the summertime. Here I'm just showing you guys where you put your contour shades, obviously in the hollows of your cheeks or your contour parts of your cheeks. I don't know, I don't really suck in my face because when I lean to the side it just kind of shows. I put it on the sides of my chin because I like to define that a little more. I put it underneath of my lip because it makes my lip appear a little bit bigger, a little bit fuller actually. And then I go with my nose. I don't drag the contour all the way down because it makes my nose look bigger. I just kind of do that little trick. So if you have a big nose, try that trick. This is the little e.l.f. tool that I use to blend out my contour on my chin, underneath my lip, and my cheeks. I forgot what it was called, but it looks like that. This is the e.l.f. tool that I use to blend out my nose contour. Here I'm showing you guys that. Right here, I do that little trick first. I kind of go in like a V motion above my nostril openings. Here I'm showing you guys how I blend out the bridge of my nose. I go in circular motions to really get that, because if you go in like a straight motion up and down, it just kind of feels a little bit harsh, like it's just there and it's not blending into your skin. I set my highlighted areas with the AIRSPUN loose face powder. Yes, it's a little pale, but it works for me. I go back in with underneath my eyes with the sponge just to make sure there's no creasing. Then I go in with the powder. Here is another e.l.f. brush. It's a contour brush, I believe. And I'm using the Black Radiance Contour Palette. The True Complexion, I think that's what it's called. And I'm going into my contoured areas and setting those. As you can see, I kind of keep looking from side to side, looking up, looking down all over my face to make sure my contour parts are even. The highlighted parts are easy to look at, but the contour, you just kind of gotta make sure it's cool. I like videos of how it looks after the fact. So, next I'm going in with more AIRSPUN to do the reverse contouring. So. Here I'm going back into the contoured palette from Black Radiance to now set the contour on my nose. Now I'm going into the brows. Here I'm just talking about my brows being thick. Now I'm going into the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow Pomade. I forgot the color of it, but it's one of the deepest browns because my eyebrows are damn near black. I dip my brush into the pomade. I go on the back of my hand to like warm it up a little bit and to also straighten out the edge of the brush because I like it to be like super straight. So I start at the back of my brow and fill it in like that because that's where the most product is supposed to go. Then I brush it and then brush into the front of my brow so it can just kind of like fade. I then, if there's any space left over in the front of my brow that needs to be filled, then I just flick some, like just like that. I flick it a little bit, but most of the time I just kind of fade it into with whatever is left from the back of the brow into the front. If that makes sense. I'm going in with another L'Oreal concealer to clean up my brows. Everything will be listed in the description box below, so make sure you guys check that out. As you can see, my brows take the longest for me to do. And this is why I'm glad I switched up my makeup routine to where I do my face first and my brows last. Now we're admiring the brows that I just did. I told y'all to watch the magic, baby. Now I'm going back into the pomade to just, I guess, fill back in what I erased with my concealer. Like the tails of the brow, maybe the middle, you know, whatever you think you need to fix up in your brows, do that. This is the center of your face. The brows are a statement piece, basically. We have one of my Morphe brushes from a set that I got from Morphe like years ago. Now I'm going back into the Black Radiance True Complexion Contour Palette. Going into the middle shade to dust off the face powder from AIRSPUN. And when I say dust off, I mean dust it off. Don't be afraid to be a little harsh because that is a very light. Now we're going back into the darker shade in the Black Radiance Contour Palette to deepen up what we may have dusted off when we were vigorously getting off that loose powder from AIRSPUN. Look at that highlight though. It really like set it. That's why I really love that AIRSPUN powder. And it's cheap. You get it from CVS or one of those places. So it's really cheap. This round I do drag the contour setting powder up into my eyelids to define my eyelids a little more and to give it some color. We have the Maybelline Matte Setting Spray. I love, love, love this matte setting spray. And also the MAC Prep and Prime Fix Plus. I use those two together. The Fix Plus smells really good too. So this is also one of my favorite parts of my makeup is wiping off the makeup from my lips. I don't understand how makeup artists can just put on lipstick or lip gloss on top of their foundation and concealer that's on their lips and powder. It just feels weird. So now I'm going in with Wet n Wild's liquid eyeliner. I like to use that to put back my beauty marks and my moles that I covered up with my foundation and my concealer. Now we're finally going in with MAC's highlighting palette, the Star Dipped Faced Compact Palette in medium deep. It's gorgeous, as you can see. I've been using it for the mirror because it comes with a really cool mirror on the inside and 4 really dope shades. Pick it. On top of the MAC highlights, I'm going in with the Maybelline Master Chrome highlight, and I think that's Molten Topaz. Don't really know. I'll put everything down in the description box below, even my foundation shades and all that stuff. So now I'm going in with another brush from that Morphe set that I got. I'm going in with those 2 shades going into my tear ducts. Now I'm just going to use that Maybelline setting spray to set all of that. Cool, now we're getting to the lips. We're going to go with MAC's Chestnut Lip Liner to line my lips, obviously. Here we have my finished, beautiful, natural, every single day makeup look. I hope you guys enjoyed it.